Welcome to the deep dive. Often we look at these huge, sprawling topics.
Right. Global politics, massive scientific concepts.
Exactly. But today, we're doing something different. We're zooming all the way in.
So the micro level.
Yeah, we're looking at the micro narrative of just a single day. We're taking a very short, very simple story about one person's commute.
And turning it into a case study.
A case study in urban operational logistics. And maybe even more importantly, essential communication. So our source material is this brief little account we're calling Transportation Day. And it just follows one person moving through a city. They use a few different ways to get around.
So our mission isn't just to list those, right?
Not at all. We want to dissect every single choice, every bus ride, every walk, every taxi.
To pull out the strategic knowledge.
The stuff you actually need to know to get around and communicate in any big city.
And I think this is a fantastic exercise because when you analyze a simple story like this, you get past just, what happened.
Right.
You start to identify the decision calculus, the thinking behind the actions.
Okay.
We're really looking for the blueprint, the model that lets someone just seamlessly switch between, say, a bus and a metro, or prioritize their time versus their own well-being.
It's about making the whole system work for you.
Exactly. Building resilience into your own day.
Right. Let's jump right in. Let's start with the first movement of the day.
The morning routine.
The fixed routines that really anchor everything. So the day starts with this critical little buffer, a pre-transit segment.
The walk.
Yeah, the source says it's a 5-minute walk to the bus stop, and we get this great little atmospheric detail.
The air is cool and quiet.
I love that. And this little walk, it's not a mistake in the planning, is it? It's part of the plan.
Oh, absolutely. We have to look at this walk not just as, getting from A to B. It's a tool for managing a transition.
A transition. How so?
Well, those 5 minutes, they create a boundary, a sort of a physical and a psychological buffer that separates your private space, your home, from the demanding public world of the commute.
It's a moment of low sensory input.
Cool and quiet, exactly, before the real operational hustle of the city kicks in.
And that leads to the next step, which establishes the fixed point in the whole system.
The timeline.
At 8:00, I take the bus to work. That one sentence tells us so much about their baseline planning.
It really does. It defines their acceptable risk profile. The 8 a.m. bus is the routine. It's the low-cost, high-reliability part of their daily system.
But the source immediately points out the risk, the variability.
Right. The bus is sometimes busy.
But not today. Today was calm.
Which just means the system is performing inside its normal expected parameters. The routine holds for now.
So the plan is executed successfully. And what they do during that successful execution is really telling. They're sitting by the window and they're actively watching people and cars on the street.
That passive observation. It sounds passive, but it's a key piece of the puzzle.
You think so?
Absolutely. They aren't just zoning out. They are engaging in what you could call environmental scanning.
Okay.
They're absorbing the state of the city's movement, traffic flow, how many people are on the sidewalks, potential friction points, all while, decompressing before they have to switch into work mode.
That's almost like a slow motion simulation of the day ahead.
That's a great way to put it.
If they were stuck in traffic, for instance, the whole calculus for the rest of the day might shift.
But because it's calm.
They have the mental bandwidth.
Yes.
Exactly. So this first leg, it sets up 3 crucial things for navigating a city effectively.
Which are?
1, you establish a reliable, time-dependent routine. 2, you build in these mandatory buffers like the walk. And 3, you use that passive travel time for awareness. It's all about getting to your destination with as little friction as possible.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. This is where we see that systems resilience get a real test.
The plan changes. It does. After just 10 minutes on that routine bus, they realize their destination has changed. They need to make an urgent, non-routine detour.
The bank. I need to visit the bank.
The central bank, specifically. So the routine has just failed. It can't serve the immediate need anymore.
And that failure immediately shifts their resource allocation model.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the system needs a backup. They had allocated their resources, their time and energy to the low-cost bus route. But this sudden, urgent need, it introduces a new variable. Time becomes critical.
So they pivot instantly. They swap the low-cost, low-speed public transit for
A premium, high-speed, direct solution.
They decide to take a taxi. What does a choice like that cost them, beyond just the fare?
Well, it costs them the comfort of the routine, but they gain maximum velocity and directness.
Right.
When time is the most critical resource, the taxi acts as the necessary system override. It just bypasses all the fixed routes and schedules.
And the communication is just as efficient. The driver is friendly, asks, "Good morning, where are you going?"
But the response is purely functional. To the central bank, please. No small talk.
It's a direct command. And the ride itself is noted as fast. So they've used this tactical intervention to manage a bottleneck.
And crucially, it gets their schedule back on track. But then the strategy shifts again once that time-sensitive task is done.
This is the part I find fascinating. They leave the bank, and instead of hailing another cab or finding a bus,
They choose to walk back to the office.
this intentional walk, it's so interesting. They're not on the clock anymore.
Not at all.
And the source gives us the motivation so clearly. The weather is nice, and walking helps me feel relaxed.
There it is, the priority shift.
From speed, from temporal efficiency.
It's psychological well-being. And this is the essence of, sophisticated resource management.
How so?
They spent money on the taxi to save time, and now they're spending time by walking to save their own mental energy.
So the commuter stays in control.
They retain their agency, they adjust the mode of transport based on what the real priority is in that moment. It just shows that for a successful urban navigator, a journey isn't just about covering distance.
It's about managing your internal resources.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
convert that travel time into self-care time.
All right, so let's move into the evening. The whole motivation for travel changes again.
Completely. Work is done.
Right. The commuter meets a friend for dinner, and they make a joint decision based on a shared feeling. They're both tired,
And being tired means you need sustained speed with minimal effort.
which makes the metro the perfect choice.
It's high-speed mass transit.
Yeah.
It's designed to cover bigger distances quickly. And it's also interesting because this is the first really social part of the day's travel.
It is, and the metro's key features are listed as clean and fast. But the dynamic inside is so different from that morning bus ride. They stand near the door and talk about our day. The transport itself is being used to enable a social interaction.
They're optimizing for proximity and conversation, not for, looking out the window or quiet observation.
So the purpose of the journey shifts.
From an observational one in the morning to a bonding one in the evening. And the metro, being so fast and predictable, it gives them this reliable little window of time for that social download.
And it gets them close to home. But there is one final leg to go. That last trip. Home by bus. It's the same exact mode of transport they started with.
But the context is worlds apart.
It's dark now. The sensory detail we get is that the city lights look beautiful.
Yeah.
And the last moments are just relaxed.
Yes.
Sitting, listening to music.
This closes the strategic loop for the day on a note of intentional decompression.
So it was a mirror image of the morning.
In a way, yes. The morning bus was used to observe the external world to get ready for work. The evening bus, same vehicle, is transformed into a sanctuary.
The focus shifts inward.
Entirely. They're actively using music to create personal space. They're appreciating the city aesthetically, not operationally.
So the bus really acts as this mobile transition point twice.
That's a great way to see it.
Once to ramp up for the day, and once to gracefully land the day at night.
It's all about leveraging the mode of transport for the psychological state you need, regardless of the destination.
So if we pull this all together, this whole operational day, we see the commuter use 4 distinct modes.
Walking, the bus, the taxi, and the metro.
And they're managing time, money, and well-being across the entire cycle. But now I want to focus on the really practical stuff we can pull from this.
The core operational vocabulary.
Yes, the language.
And this is where a simple story like this is so powerful. It strips communication down to its most functional bits.
Right.
And we can pull out 5 phrases that really encapsulate the essential language of motion, need, and just checking the system.
Okay, let's go through them. Let's start with the one that defines the default state, the anchor. Number 1.
I take the bus to work.
What's so powerful about that phrase?
It does more than just state a fact. It establishes a behavioral pattern and a destination with maximum brevity.
It's your standard operating procedure.
It is. When you say that, you're communicating reliability, expectation. It's the phrase you use when your confidence in the system is high.
Okay. Next, the phrase for when that confidence fails and you need speed above all else. Number 2.
I need a taxi, please.
The emergency override.
That's exactly what it is. It's a command. It expresses an immediate, non-negotiable need, and it kicks off that high-cost, high-speed solution. It just cuts through all the complexity and signals urgency.
Just like our commuter did when they had to get to the bank.
Precisely. Its use signals the routine has been temporarily abandoned for a tactical intervention.
Okay, number 3. The phrase that defines what you're doing in between the bigger systems.
I walk to the station.
Why is that one so critical?
It's for coordination, for status updates. It expresses your current movement, and it implies you're about to transition to a larger system like a metro or a train.
It's precise.
Very. It defines both the mode you're using and the target you're heading for. It's the linguistic bridge between systems.
All right, now for the phrase that is maybe the most crucial when you're facing uncertainty. Number 4.
Where does this bus go?
The big question.
It is the primary system validation check. You use this phrase when the routine is unknown, when the signs are confusing, or when you just need to confirm that the system is going to do what you think it's going to do.
It's about mitigating risk.
Exactly. Before you commit your time and energy to a bus line you're not sure about, if you don't know the answer to this, your whole operational plan is at risk.
And finally, number 5. The phrase that looks back, the evaluation.
The metro is fast and easy.
This one feels different.
It is. It's essential for sharing knowledge and for your own internal rating of the system. It expresses a judgment about efficiency, about reliability. It lets you communicate performance metrics to other people.
Like a friend or family member.
Yeah. It completes the cycle. It turns your experience into actionable advice for someone else.
What's really remarkable here is how these 5 simple phrases, they map perfectly onto the entire strategic day we just analyzed.
They do. They cover routine, need, intention, inquiry, and system evaluation.
The full spectrum of communication you need to navigate this kind of complexity.
It just goes to show that effective urban transit is really driven by functional language. If you can express these 5 ideas clearly, you've got the core operational language you need to manage almost any city's transportation network. #outro.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive.
Yeah.
We took a simple little story about a commuter's day.
And turned it into a manual.
A manual on resource management, strategic mode switching, and functional communication.
Yeah.
We mapped the daily flow, we found the tactical pivot points, and we distilled that core operational toolkit.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is just that consistent effort required to manage all these resources, internal and external.
Right. The money spent on the taxi to buy time,
The time spent walking to gain back mental energy.
and the choice of evening transit for social connection and decompression.
It's a constant balancing act.
And that leads us to our final provocative thought. Something for you to consider the next time you step out the door. We saw our commuter consciously value their emotional state. The quiet air during the walk, feeling relaxed after walking back from the bank, enjoying music on the final bus ride home.
So the question is,
Does choosing pure speed, like with the taxi or the metro, always provide the highest return on investment? Or are those slower modes, the walks, the reflective bus ride, are they actually more crucial to maintaining your psychological well-being throughout the rigorous demands of a city day?
so take a look at your own travel choices. Are you always optimizing for pure efficiency, or are you prioritizing your own resilience and maybe even your own peace?
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.